What's up, guys? It's your boy, the hoodlum, Eric Acton, and you're tuning in to the 3 Count Podcast. Enjoy.
Welcome, everybody, to another great edition of the 3 Count Podcast, now entering the ring. I'm your host, Clifford Red Dog Miller, and I am here with one other individual. He is on the roster. You know him. You've seen him. Sometimes you'll see us making fun of him because he is the king of naps. He's the one who sleeps at night. And we like to call him Q. But you guys know him as JJ.
Oh, wrong thing. Okay. I like to thank the sidewalks, keep me up the street. Dangerous times out here. I watched the review, and I'm tired of you guys making fun of me. Cliff, Chaz, Showtime. I'm tired of all you. But anyway, there's a Revolutionary War going on outside, so make sure you guys are locked and loaded. Chitty, chitty, bang, murder everything. That's all from me.
Bro, we about to erase you off this podcast, then. So, as always, this is now entering the ring, which means one thing. We have a special guest for you today. In the hot seat today, you can see him. Well, on my screen, he's right here. But he is the man. He is greatness. You know him as Dorian Black.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Dude, it is going awesome. I'm so hyped that you decided to come on the show with us.
Oh, man, I'm psyched to be here. This is awesome.
Yeah, so so normally, with our guests, we like to talk to them too, just kind of make things kind of ease, man. I really feel like we've never met, and I really feel I was like, yo, man, this is a man I haven't seen in a year. And
I know the feeling, man. Yeah, definitely.
So typically, man, we usually have like 3 or 4 people on the show. Obviously, it's me and JJ today, so we're just gonna ask a bunch of random questions to you, man. And then, like always, we have the world famous 10 count questions, and we will ask you those questions after all of our fun questions. So, first question coming up for you, man, is who is Dorian Black?
Dorian Black is that's a good one. Independent wrestler, big man, don't wrestle like a big man, move around, do some crazy shit, and that's it, man. I do my best to give everybody a good show.
I can dig it 100%. One of my favorite questions, I like to ask everybody this because I feel like every wrestler I've ever asked this question to, they have a different story and a different answer. So I'm very curious. What has been your favorite fan interaction?
Oh, geez. There's been some good ones. Of course, you love the kids. The kids are great. The kids have really kind of gone nuts over the past year or so. I didn't realize how much of a following of kids I had, and then all of a sudden I get done with the show and I get mobbed by bunch of, and I'm gigantic, so I got a bunch of little kids grabbing at my knees and stuff. And I'm like, oh damn, little ones everywhere. So the kids are always great. And then you get the crazy fans every once in a while that are super fun. I had one guy who was trying to pick a fight with me, with other wrestlers, and it was great. He was posting everything on Facebook, trying to start these fantasy matchups. And then we weren't sure if it was a work or if he was actually trying to get us to street fight each other. I don't know what the hell he was doing, but yeah, it got kind of out of hand, but it was funny.
Yeah, it's funny, man. I was at a show and I saw a fan was talking to Vam Williams, and he told him, he was like, I could take you in a ring. I know this is fake. And I swear to you, standing right next to this man, I was like, I want to chop you in the chest just one time, just so that you can be like, maybe this is got some pain to it.
I mean, you can't fake. That's what I always. Anytime somebody wants to say something about it being fake or something like that, I'm like, have you seen somebody's chest after I chop? My whole hand is on their chest. It doesn't get there by just touching it. I gotta hit them pretty damn hard. So yeah, it's not fake.
Yes, I have seen some of the guys you have chopped. I have seen the welts after the match. Looks like someone just it's it's weird like seeing guys who get chopped like by people like yourself as well as people like Walter, right? Because there's like three levels of red that you see. It's like that pink, there's like deep red, and then you have like scar red. And you're
Yeah.
like, those are some of the chops I've seen you throw, and I'm like, yeah, I don't ever want to be hit that hard, like
Oh
ever.
yeah, we had the outbreak. There was an outbreak battle royal, and there were some bad ones in that in that one. We a couple of guys got it just to the point where we were all in there for a while, and it was just the crowd was going nuts for the chops, so we just kept laying them in. And, a couple of guys I felt bad for because they took 5 or 6 good ones, and I was just like, yeah, got to give the fans what they want.
What? Okay, so tell me about like either one of the hardest chops you've ever thrown or one of the hardest chops you've ever heard.
One of the hardest chops I've ever heard. I wrestled with a guy at the company called CCW, Mr. Ping, and he's got some of the craziest chops I've ever seen. Like he'll light people up pretty good. As far as me, I was working Ron Holiday a couple of weeks ago. I gave him, I cracked him pretty good. It was a double-handed one. We were shooting outdoors, and it was like eating an egg off the tree. It's like I cracked.
Oh, it just it's those chops that you hear. Like I'll tell you, I'm gonna end up dating myself, man. But I was in Lusk, Wyoming, at a WCW event, and I was in the very top of the Raptors, right? So if you guys know the movie Ready to Rumble, just kind of picture I was Gordy, just kind of
Okay.
get the idea.
All right.
I heard Chris Benoit chop a guy, and it sounded like he was right here, like right next to my ear. That's how loud it was, and we were probably, God, man, 200-300 feet away. It was the loudest chop I've ever heard in my life. And mind you, I love listening to Walter throw chops, and I was like, yeah, Chris was definitely right there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the Walter's chops are, yeah, those things are nasty.
Yeah, he's not someone that I could ever imagine getting chopped by ever. I've seen some people try to brave that, man. I don't know if you listen to other crazy podcasts, but Wrestle Talk, they had
Sometimes, yeah.
so they had the loser of one of their events. They tried to get Walter to chop them, and Walter's publicist was like, "Bro, he literally can stop your heart by chopping you." I was like, "Yeah, that's not a place that I want to be."
Yeah, that's definitely one thing. I don't know if I would. Yeah, I don't think I'd ever chop a fan or something like that. Just in case. Like that's one of the. Yeah, there's a solid chance you're gonna hurt somebody, especially if they're not ready for that. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it.
So another good question I really wanted to ask you too is like, who's been one of your biggest inspirations prior to getting into wrestling, and one of your inspirations that now that you've been in wrestling for as long as you have been?
Well, biggest inspiration before, I gotta say, was The Rock. The Rock's been my favorite wrestler since I was, as long as I can remember. Honestly, so that was kind of what originally like really got me into it, like really really hooked me. Since I've been in, and that's tough to say. I've met a lot of really 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 cool people who have taught me a lot of really interesting stuff. I don't know. Manny Fernandez was great. He came up to I trained with Rob Noxious. He came up to Rob's school. We ended up working a couple of shows with him down in South Carolina a few years back, and he was awesome. Just it's crazy. You see some of those guys who've been around for so long, where they just have, they've forgotten more about wrestling than you're ever gonna know. That kind of thing. Like it was wild. Rock and Roll Express. I got to meet them. That was just I didn't even know what to do, but they were amazing. Like that's one thing that I think has been surprising for me is, you always hear the horror stories like, these old vets, somebody's a dickhead, I gotta say, as far as I'm concerned, I can't think of one like bad interaction I've had with one of these, like, these old school legends who are just like, they've always been great, always been, more than willing to share their knowledge and help you out. And I've been very, very, very fortunate to have a lot of really good interactions with some really cool people.
Oh, that's awesome, man. So I'll let JJ ask some questions and go from there.
Alrighty. Hello, Mr. Dorian. So my first question would be, let's say we had a time machine, right?
Yeah.
And we fast forward 5 years. So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Hopefully, as long all pandemic things aside, I want to be in Japan. Japan's been the dream since the outset. That's kind of been my thing. Obviously, I wouldn't shy away from working for some of the big American companies, but yeah, I think Japan is really what I want to do. I love the Japanese fans. I love the style. I love all that stuff. Talking about the chops and stuff, like, I love that strong style, that kind of old school. And yeah, that's like that would be the goal. Japan.
It's cool. I like Japan too. So my next question for you would be, what's the best advice you could give to up-and-coming wrestlers coming into the industry?
Best advice, I would say, don't hold on to your first gimmick for too long if it ain't working. When I first came out a couple of years ago, had this gimmick. I had this big crazy idea. I had written all this shit out, and it was ridiculous. It was a little bit of Bray Wyatt, a little bit of like Rosemary from TNA. It was just all this crazy shit mixed together. And I had this huge grand plan. I was going to give these like huge, crazy promos and all these special. And I was like, okay, this is indie wrestling. There ain't that many special effects. I'm not going to get 20 minutes of promo time. And I don't feel like talking like a creep all the time. And it got to be this thing where it was like, and I dropped it, and I'm so glad I dropped it, because the Dorian Black thing has been going so well. Yeah, I think that's the number one thing is, like, you have that sort of like crazy dream gimmick in your head when you first get into wrestling, and then you realize that, like, it might not actually work for wrestling. Like, it works for the crazy fantasy you have in your head, but like, it doesn't actually work when you put it in a ring and you put a mic with it. It just doesn't make any
sense. Yeah. So a segue to my next question is going to be, what's the worst bump you've ever taken?
Luckily, I will say, I'm the big guy. So luckily, usually I'm the one giving that people are telling of the bad bump stories. I mean, I've thrown people out of rings. I've thrown people over shit, through shit. So I mean, yeah. But probably the worst one, if I had to pick, I got hit with a shopping cart once at a show. It was a tag team, hardcore, fans bring the weapons kind of thing, and those fans brought some pretty interesting weapons. They were different. there was a shovel in the ring, which I promptly kicked out of the ring as soon as I saw it. 'Cause I was like, I don't care what happens, I'm not getting hit in the head with the shovel. That was like my whole goal for the match, was to not get cracked in the head with the shovel. But then we ended up outside the ring, beating the hell out of each other. I think a couple of cookie sheets, probably a stop sign or something, and then I'm down and I see the guy I'm working about 25 feet away from me with the shopping cart, and it dawns on me that I don't know how to take a shopping cart. So I'm like, all right, let me figure this out. Well, he comes running at me full tilt, and my dumb ass puts my elbow up like this and catch it in the elbow. My whole arm goes numb. I'm rolling around on the ground. I'm like, what the hell? And instantly, as soon as it hit me, I was like, why didn't you just let it hit you in the shoulder? Like, the shoulder would have been fine. Would have rolled over, been perfectly fine. But instead, I can't feel my hand. My arm's swollen up, all the shit. And we got the rest of the way through it. But, I learned the hard way. That's if you're going to get hit with a shopping cart, don't put your elbow up, because it'll suck.
Wow, that's a funny one, because when we usually get the worst bump questions, that never popped up with getting hit with a shopping cart.
That's a first.
Yeah, honestly, the bad bump stuff, like I think the second worst one would be we had like a miracle unbreakable table at a show, and it was an outdoor show, and it was a tag match. They get my tag partner up on the table. One guy comes off the top, and now the table's outside the ring, and he comes off the top rope, boom, hits it, nothing happens. So my tag partner's about half my size, so they're like, oh, throw me on there, and it'll definitely break. He's big as hell. So Rob Noxious, actually, it was who I was working. He goes up to the top rope, big splash off the top into the table. Thing still doesn't break. Now, Rob is not a small man, nor am I. And that damn thing, I don't know, I'm not sure what it would have taken, but about 700 pounds was not enough to break that damn table. And believe me, tables hurt a lot worse when they don't break. Like, I've gone through tables that break before. It's like cushion, honestly, in the ring. Like, going through a table that breaks, really not that bad. If it doesn't break, it's horrible. Because your body just takes the whole thing. It sucks.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. That's a really funny story. And my final question for you would be, when this is all said and done, what do you want Dorian Black's legacy to be?
I want people to remember the stories. I want people to remember the athleticism. I think that's really what I pride myself on. Since the day I started wrestling, the day I started training, I asked my trainer, I was like, hey, I know I'm huge, but like, I don't want to work like a big guy. I don't want to just be, your classic, choke slam, big yelly guy kind of thing. So I think that's one of the things. My finish is a shining wizard. I do big, I do big drop kicks, stuff like that. Like I like to kind of show off a little bit, and luckily I've been kind of blessed with that athleticism, so I'm able to do some cooler stuff. So I think that's, just being able to put on a show and entertain people and give them their money's worth, and that's pretty much it. I love entertaining people, and I love being out there with the fans and stuff. So as long as I'm putting on a good show, that's what I want to be remembered for.
I respect that.
All right, so I'm just going to ask this question. What's the hardest you've ever been hit?
Hardest I've ever been hit. With or without a weapon?
Why not both?
Both. Yeah.
Okay. Hardest I've ever been hit without a weapon. That one I remember pretty clearly. I just started training, and they had a guy come in. We were learning clotheslines, and for some reason that bump was like a killer to me. I couldn't get it, and this guy's finish was clothesline from hell, and they were like, "Okay, get ready, get in there." They're like, because with clothesline bumps, like once you get it, but before you get it, you really don't get it. And they were like, just, take it, tuck your chin, like, the usual wrestling. And, shit, he hit me so hard. I was laying on the ground looking up. I saw, like, the old Rocky shit where you, like, rail and do this. And I was like, damn. Now, mind you, I played football for damn near 15 years. And, like, I played Division I football. Like, I've been hit by some big-ass people. And that shit still was one of the worst I've ever been rocked. Like I didn't know. I was like, okay, give me a minute. Like I was completely out of it. And then hardest I've ever been hit with a weapon was actually with a stop sign. Working a match. It was what was it? Some crazy stuff. Oh, it was no padding, like just wooden boards match.
Oh God!
And it was hardcore. It got crazy and shit. I think I ended up going to a table at the end of it, but it's always the shit you don't see coming that was really gets you. So I'm working this guy, and one of the guys who he's around the company sometimes. He's not always there, but like a fan favorite type. Like I don't even think I realized he was at the show that night. And all of a sudden I hear like a quick like gasp from somebody near me, and it's not nearly fast enough for me to react. And then I just feel this whack, and I got cracked in the back with this damn stop sign so hard. And I just didn't know. I was like, who even? I didn't know who hit me. I was like, I rolled over. I was like, where'd you even come from? Like he cracked me good. Yeah, that was probably the worst one with a weapon. Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun at all. Like I don't want to be cracked in the back with a stop sign.
It's one of those things where it's like I said, like as a big guy, I get lucky. I don't have to take some of those really crazy, like I'm not taking the Jeff Hardy bumps. Like I'm not taking the crazy shit through, 3 tables and flying off the top of like ladders and stuff. That's not really my deal. But you end up taking a lot more like bad ones, or not like bad ones, but like a lot more like little bad ones because you have to. Like I've always said, like when I wrestle people, like if you gotta hit me to make it look real, hit me. Like I'd rather you be a little too stiff and tag me a couple of times than go way too light and just whiff on punch and just stupid shit, because there's nothing I hate more than wrestling looking fake and looking ridiculous and people embarrassing the business. And so, you end up getting cracked with stuff when you're big because you got to make it look like it hurts. So they just make it hurt. It is what it is. But yeah, I think that's the one downside to being a big dude is you end up getting smacked 300 times with stuff. Like I think there was some show I worked where it was like a beat down at the end. I was the baby face. I got jumped by like this whole stable of heels. I think I hit in the back with a chair like 8 or 9 times. Like they just kept everybody just kept like just tagging me. But it was, it hurt for a couple of days and you're fine. It makes for a good show. So it's all good.
Yeah, it's like I'm not gonna lie, man. Like training now, like that's something I've been working on like a lot. Is just like learning to throw a working punch, and everybody says it's the hardest thing to learn. And by God, like they're right. It is so hard.
Oh yeah, that's definitely probably because it is, because you got to find the fine line of it looking real and not actually knocking people out.
Yeah, I'm not. I may have hit my friend one time by accident in the face.
Hey, we've all been there. I almost accidentally knocked out a kid at a show, like completely by accident. But yeah, he came running up, and I just threw him this like big haymaker right hand, and he was just on me before I could really like cock my arm back. So I threw my left, and I didn't realize just how close he was to me, and was just like bam, and just tagged him, and he just kind of dropped to his ass and looked at me, and I was like, oh, that was a little too hard. I was like, shit. I definitely hit him.
We'll just call that one Spud because I'm throwing potatoes. Sorry, bro.
Yep.
So we'll get into the world famous 10 count questions. Sir, these questions, it's first thought, not that hard. You cannot fail. As we have mentioned, we've had some interesting answers on this show based on those questions. So let's put our imaginary timer up. Bing! You heard that, right? There it was.
Yep, yeah, let's do it.
So first question off the bat, SmackDown or Raw?
SmackDown.
Favorite candy?
Reese's.
Early bird or night owl?
Night Owl.
Pepsi or Coke?
Pepsi. I don't drink a lot of soda.
What pisses you off?
I mean, I feel like I have some pretty good patience, but yeah, probably assholes in traffic. That I got the that classic road rage shit. So yeah, that's probably one of my good triggers.
Oh, you know what? Okay, pause the timer. There's one thing that I can agree with you. Yes. If there's one thing that coronavirus did for us, was show us that, hey, you know what? When people stay home, there are a lot less accidents, and that means there's a lot less assholes out there driving.
Oh yeah. And I'm always like, well, because I always get pissed because I'm like, yo, if you realize how damn big I am, like, because I'm not that type. I'm not aggressive. I'm like the chillest person. But I'm always, when I'm driving, I'm like, motherfucker, if you knew how big I was, you wouldn't be driving like that.
I'll even tell this fun story, right? So this last week I was driving and I legitimately looked over my right shoulder, saw my blind spot, no one was in it. I go to pull in, all of a sudden I hear, "Brrr!" And then this dude like just pulls up next to me and he stares at me like I'm a fucking dinosaur, and it's the first time he's been in Jurassic Park because he's like this. I was like, I low-key looked at him and I was like, the fuck, buddy? And then he was just like, I was like, go fuck yourself, bro. If that guy is listening to this show, yeah, fuck you, buddy.
Oh yeah. That shit's it's so fucking dumb. Like, what, you're gonna sit there and I mean, like, we're both adults. We're not actually gonna fight. So what? You're gonna glare at me and do nothing, and then okay. If that makes you feel better to fucking glare at me, then go for it.
I was like, bro, you're in a government vehicle, okay? I know that you're. I know where you work. Go talk to your boss. Goddamn Air Force. I may have served in that. Start the timer back up.
Yes, timer, go. Yes.
Last show you binge watch.
Oh, actually, I got hooked on BuzzFeed Unsolved True Crime. They do these two guys. They do true crime analysis, and then they do a supernatural version where they go and do like haunted houses and shit. I probably watched like 40 episodes of that shit back to back. I totally went to a hole.
Favorite holiday?
Halloween.
It's a Friday night, and what are you doing?
I'm either training or I'm probably chilling. I'm not a big like I'm too old to keep partying, so I'm usually hanging out or I'm at training. I mean, we train every Friday night, so I'm usually at training. With my knee laid up. I missed a couple of weeks, but yeah, that's probably what I'm doing. Probably training.
Would you rather be too hot or too cold?
I would rather be too cold.
And everybody's favorite question, my favorite question of all time, favorite curse word.
Oh, fuck for sure.
Yeah, that's right.
It's universal. I mean, it works for everything. So
I keep telling everybody, I was like, if you have not heard of the history of the F word on
yeah.
YouTube yet, please go. Best thing ever in the
Oh
world.
yeah, it's amazing. It literally, I don't know a part of speech it doesn't work for. I mean, it's fantastic.
I love like in the description how it was like, you can insert it into other words. Abso-fucking-lutely.
Yeah. Unfucking believable.
Unbelievable. I was like, I got in trouble actually with JJ's mom because I was like, you can use it for every word in the sentence. Fuck the fucking fuckers. Tell mom I said sorry. But, do me a favor, man. Plug all your social medias and where people can find you and reach out to you.
You can find me on mainly if you want to get a hold of me, merch, anything like that, at Bulletproof Black on Instagram, Dorian Black on Facebook, and well, I got a Twitter, but I don't use it. So if you see me, tweet me, DM me, whatever it is. I don't know. I don't use Twitter, but yeah, Instagram is my number one thing. So yeah, Bulletproof Black on Instagram. If you need merch, you want to book me, whatever it is, that's where you can find me. Or if you just want to say what's up.
Bet. There you go. So, with that being said, this is the 3 Count Presents, now entering the man Dorian Black. I am Clifford Red Dog Miller with the Napster. We will catch you later. So either tune into the next episode and be there or be somewhere else.
Hey guys, it's the host of the 3 Count, Chaz Evans here. Make sure to let you know that I don't run shit, I don't do shit, I just talk shit. And make sure you subscribe to our podcast. What else did you do? You should also follow us on all social medias. That's the Facebook at 3 Count Podcast, the Instagram at 3 Count Pod, and the Twitter at 3Count_pod. Also, if you like us a lot, you should definitely buy a t-shirt at prowrestlingtees.com/3countpod, and that's the number 3. Don't be an idiot and type in THREE, because you're not going to find anything. So make sure you follow us at 3 Count Pod or 3Count_pod on Twitter and buy a shirt. Be there or be somewhere else.